Hello students, welcome to Kingdom of Learning. In this video, I'm going to explain chapter 24, 25 and 26 of the novel The Invisible Man. So as in my previous video, I had explained that Griffin was telling his story to Dr. Kemp. So in chapter 24, we will continue now. So when Griffin was telling his story to Kemp, he sees that some people were coming up the hill to his house. So he tries to keep Griffin talking, means he wants to keep him involved in talking. So now Griffin tells him that he had planned to go some place which was warm, like South America, where he wouldn't have to wear clothes, at least not during spring break. Means Griffin wanted to remain invisible because he didn't want to put on clothes over there. But since he had met Kemp, he has changed his plans. He now realizes that how little one person can do on his own. So invisibility is especially useful for killing people. So Griffin plans to establish a new reign of terror, and he thinks that Kemp will help him in this thing. Means Griffin wants to use his invisibility to kill people with the help of Kemp. But first, though, he needs to get his books back from Marvel, who is locked up at the jail for his own safety. Suddenly Griffin hears some people are coming up in the house, and he realizes that Kemp has betrayed him. Kemp has cheated him. So now Griffin gets very sad and angry, and he starts taking his clothes off. So Kemp tries to capture Griffin with the help of three men, including Colonel Addy, the police captain who had got Kemp's letter. But Griffin pushes past them with as much violence as he can, and he runs away from there. So the question which can be asked from this chapter is, how did Griffin escape from Dr. Kemp's house? So you have to tell that he takes off his clothes and he runs from that house because he got very angry after he came to know that Kemp had cheated him. Now in chapter 25, Kemp explains to Captain Addy that they have to take measures against Griffin because Griffin is a mad person. He is a very selfish person also. So now they have some advantages, that they know that Griffin wants to get to Marvel and his stolen books. Means Griffin had told Dr. Kemp that first of all he wanted to go to Marvel to get his books back, and they know this thing, so they can follow Griffin over there where Marvel was there in the prison. Also Griffin basically told Kemp his life story, so they have all the information about Griffin. Now Kemp knows that they can keep him unstable by making sure he doesn't get a moment to eat or sleep. And of course he knows that they can use dogs against Griffin because dogs can sniff Griffin. So they can arrest him with the help of dogs also. Kemp suggests that they can put some powdered glass on the roads, but Eddie says that it's not sportsmanship, means it would not be fair. So at least someone is worried about that. So Kemp counters that Griffin is inhuman, means he is not a good human being, and that he has cut himself off from his kind. His blood be upon his own head. Means Kemp means to say that actually Griffin has become very cruel and he always remains angry, and he is very hot-blooded person. So they should not think about him. So the questions which can be asked from this chapter are the which inhuman things Dr. Kemp advises Addy to do in order to catch Griffin. So now we come to chapter 26. Now the police is into action. By 2 o'clock, all the passengers in the train, they travelled with locked doors, and the goods traffic was also stopped for some time because the police had to catch Griffin. 20 miles around Port Burdock, Now men in groups of 3 or 4 who are armed with guns and they are accompanied by the dogs. Now they were having duties on the roads and fields, and policemen, they were riding along the country lanes, and they stopped at every cottage and warned the people to lock up their houses and remain indoors. Now there is an announcement and a proclamation is signed by Addy, that is posted over the whole district by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Before nightfall, an area of several hundred square miles was in a state of siege. So now there were people who had not heard about that invisible man, and there is one Mr. Wicksteed who was brutally murdered within 200 yards from Lord Burdock's lodge gate. Now Mr. Wicksteed was an amiable man of 45 or 46 years old, and he was a steward to Lord Burdock, but he was found lying crushed on the edge of a gravel pit, and the weapon used to kill him was an iron rod that was pulled up from a broken fence. Mr. Wicksteed was coming back to his home for his midday meal, and a schoolgirl reported that she had seen him walking towards the gravel pit away from his direct path home, and bent forward and striking repeatedly at something in front of him with his walking stick. An iron rod moving around was also visible, and it also aroused curiosity of that man, and it might have led to his tragedy. So in spite of all the vigil, the invisible man seems to have taken his food and he took rest that night. He was back in action with renewed energy the next day. Means he couldn't be arrested by the police, and he was just having a good day, good night's sleep also, and he had eaten his food also. So now we can see the questions which may be formed from this chapter. The most important question is the brief account of the murder of Mr. Wicksteed. So you have to tell the whole incident, how Mr. Wicksteed was murdered, and he was also one of the people who had not heard about the invisible man, and when he was curious to know about an iron rod moving around by itself, and he tried to follow it, chase it, then he was killed by the invisible man. So this whole incident you can tell. So I hope you must have understood this chapter also. So share the video your friends who are appearing in class 12th exams, and subscribe the channel if you haven't subscribed it yet. If you are interested in reading motivational blogs, you can open the link provided in the description box. That is the link of my website, stiryoursoul.in. Thank you very much.